Color seasons is a way of categorizing people based on their features. So you can be high contrast, medium contrast, low contrast, as well as what colors would suit you. So that can go based on your skin tone of being warm, neutral, cool, olive. It is a breakdown into spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And then within each of these, there are different variations, such as like bright, warm, neutral, true. So I am very fascinated and really want to explore the color season analysis. I've been seeing it everywhere, been bombarded with color seasons, contrast levels, color theory, and I think it's very fascinating that people are shifting to a more personalized makeup and wardrobe look. But as someone who loves color and exploring different styles, I think it's silly to put yourself into a box saying that you can only wear these certain colors. So I'm going to go through every single color season and just see how I feel about it, if I feel that it's wearable for me based on my features, what my thoughts are on it, and do a wrap up at the end if my thoughts have changed. So welcome to my channel. My name is Lexi and I love to explore different time period makeup, color theory, and just have fun with color and using what you have. So if that sounds like fun, keep on watching. As you can tell, I already did my base. I just went in with a foundation that works for me and a little bit of concealer, and I'm going to use a little bit of contour today, so I'm using my Makeup by Mario contouring stick in the shade Fair. So today I am starting with Bright Winter, and it lies between Bright Spring and True Winter. So it is the brightness of spring, but not those same colors. The color palette is very different, and it's more of deeper toned shades, but still bright. So think of jewel tones, galaxy colors, that kind of sort of color palette. And they are cool toned, so you will avoid any warm tones in this color season. So a common feature of people who are bright winters tend to have very contrasting features: dark hair, light skin, bright eyes, and of course being cool toned or maybe even neutral toned. And I believe this season has one of the highest contrast levels, so that is what I was talking about with the dark hair, light features, which I feel like I fall into a bright winter. I'm not sure yet. So I do feel like I have that high contrast level, and I'm definitely not warm toned. I do think more cool toned, maybe even olive, but I'm definitely not warm toned whatsoever. So when trying to draw inspiration for this look, I was looking at celebrities to try and see identifying them into a color season. So some that are definitely true bright winters. I know it's a little conflicting because there's a true winter, but Krysten Ritter, she is definitely a bright winter. Oh my goodness, that's kind of where I was drawing a parallel to myself, because I have that pretty dark hair and then fair skin, but she definitely is a bright winter, and I think she looks her best in those really deep blues, even greens, deep reds, but still bright, not mute toned. Some other people that come to mind: Kerry Washington. She definitely has that coolness where the contrast level is just phenomenal on her. And then I think the first people that I thought of were the Gilmore Girls, Lorelai and Rory. They're both definitely bright winters, though maybe Lorelai is a true winter. I'm not sure just yet, but just based on what I know of bright winter, I think they both fall into this perfectly. So I think I want to start with the eye look rather than doing lips and cheek, because I think I'm going to lean more into blues today. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not really sure what I want to do with the blush. I pulled out a few that I think would work for this color season, but we'll see when we get there. And I am just going to prime my lids first. So when I was planning for today, when I thought of an eyeshadow palette, I had one specifically in mind, and that is my Nomad Polar Express palette. And I mean, the colors in here are just, they're perfect for this color season. So I do really think even these red shades could work for the bright winter, but I really want to lean more into that, the cool tone and jewel tones of a bright winter. So I think I'm going to work mostly with these blues, and first I'm going to start with this matte white because I really want to keep that brightness there. I've used this matte before, and it's actually one of the most pigmented matte white shadows I've tried, but I don't want it to be like stark white underneath. So I'm just going to use my NYX Ultimate palette, this like all over shade, and I'm just going to kind of mix the two so that it just creates like a nice bright layer underneath. And just look how white that is. Like, I only tapped it very so slightly because I don't want a ton of pigment, but I love this white shade in the Nomad formula. I already love just how much brightness that white shadow has brought. It just brings such a beautiful brightness to the center of the face, to my eyes, and that is going to be like the focal point for today. So I'm kind of leaning more towards like an editorial look, though I do still want this to be wearable because we're focusing on colors for this color season. So I want it to be wearable, but also want to be more dramatic. I don't know, I'm kind of at a crossroads here. But I think I'm going to start with this really light blue North Pole, and that is the lightest of the mattes in this palette. I'm going to tap that into the lid, kind of everywhere except the very, very front where I just want to keep very bright. And then I'm just going to go back in with that blending brush and blend the edges out. For the next shade, I'm just going to go down the row and go to the second deepest blue shade, and that is Desert of Ice. I don't think I'm going to use Frozen Sea, which is that deep navy blue, though I do think that can make like a beautiful eyeliner. I don't know. I think that's a little too much for what I want to do today, but it could still work with this color season. That deep blue, I'm just focusing on like the outer V. So I did accidentally dip into the shade I wasn't going to use, so I'm just going to use all three of the blues now, but I'm going to make sure that I blend it out because that is not how deep I wanted it to be. I really wanted to keep this bright, but I noticed kind of early, so I think we're okay. So now I'm just adding a bit more of that white matte to the front of my lid and kind of on the edges to keep that fresh brightness. If you did want this look to be more dramatic, I would add a little bit of blue to the lower lash line. I think that could be really cute, but I'm happy with where this is now. So I'm thinking of a shimmer, especially like a bright white one. So this one has two, but there's a silver one, Silver Bells, and then All Aboard, which is the one I think I want to use, which is just this gorgeous like white frosty shade. And again, just keeping that brightness to the look. I mean, that is just so pretty. So I'm keeping it the most concentrated in the inner corner and then kind of diffusing it out. Just what's left over on my finger, not reapplying. Next, we can do blush, and I have a few options, and what I pick will then dictate of the few options I have for lips. So I want this saturated, but I personally want to lean more towards muted because when I think of deep colors for blush, they tend to be muted. They are not very bright. When I think of bright blush, I think of like the bubblegum pink, and that's cool toned, but it's not necessarily what I see with this look. I don't know, that's just my thought on it. So I have a couple. So this is the Tower 28 Power Hour. This one I think is too deep for the look, but it's kind of like that color story that I'm looking for. Another one I have is LYS Elite, and this one I really love. It has a nice like shimmer throughout it, and it's a balmy texture, but also kind of deep. A little too deep, but same color story. And then another LYS is Focused, and this one is kind of deeper in my opinion, but still really pretty. I don't know, because I feel like a cool toned baby pink is more of bright spring rather than bright winter. So I'm thinking one of these LYS ones. I'll swatch them out and pick. So this one is Elite. That's really pretty. I like that. I think this is the one I was leaning towards earlier. And then the second one is Focused. So this one is Focused, and it's definitely more like neutral toned, leaning a little bit warm, and has more of like warm nude shade, whereas the other one definitely is more like almost mulberry with some pink tones in there. I think I'm gonna go towards Elite. I think that would be a good look for this. And I really like these LYS ones because they're balmy and like it looked intense in the swatch, but you can sheer them out so beautifully, and they also have a nice like beautiful shimmer running throughout, but not like in your face like my NARS blushes. So I really just love these. I'm gonna try and use what is on my hand first. And then if you want to sheer out even more, just use your sponge. And yes, I know my sponge is disgusting. I'm going to wash it right after this. And I really like these blushes because they're super easy to build up. So you can sheer them out, build them up, really whatever, and it's just a really nice consistency and formula. Like I said, for the lip options, I have quite a few again, and I'm not really sure where to go because again, like I'm thinking of the bright winter color palettes, but most of the lip shades I have in that aren't super bright. They're more muted. So I'll just give a couple of swatches of what I have. So one thing that I thought of that I think I'm leaning more towards is my Glossier Ultra Lip in Cranberry. And this one I like because it's like sheer, but you can build it up, and it kind of is like that deeper red, but it's not very bright. I don't know. But I like that it's sheer and it's buildable. Another option is a MAC lipstick, and this is Ruby Woo. This is another one that I thought of right away because like a bright winter with such high contrast with the hair and skin tone, I feel like a classic bright red is like should be in your makeup collection if you are doing bright winter makeup. It doesn't necessarily go with like the eye look and the rest of the look. It's very cool toned, but like it might be too high contrast with the rest of the makeup, and I guess that's where I think I'm coming from. And some other two. One is a lip liner. This is Woma Ross, and this one's really deep, but I figured I would do some swatches of it. So again, just like a very muted deep red, but we're looking for bright tones, so I'm still kind of leaning towards that Glossier one though, even though I think the Ruby Woo is a great color for this season. And then lastly, this is like a matte lipstick slash lip tint. This is the Etude Fixing Tint in Cranberry Plum. This one's really gorgeous, but again, like just really mixed up some swatches, but so I kind of went a little over that lip liner, but this is also a really great shade. But again, just I think these are all too deep for what I'm looking for. So I think I'm gonna go in with the Glossy Cranberry because it's kind of like the sheerest, so I can kind of keep it bright. I just realized that it actually smells like cranberries. I've had this for years and never realized that until today. Now I'm just going to do some eyeliner and mascara, and I will be right back. So here is the final look, and I have thoughts. So even though I feel like I might fall into bright winter based on my features that I have, I think it's a bit much. And do I feel like my true self in it? Not at all, no. I mean, like the blush and the lips, they're products I have, they're things that I do wear. Maybe not frequently for a bright lip, but I do wear like these tones. The blue, I don't know, it could just be a personal thing, but whenever I wear blue, I really just feel like out of place. It's very hard to make it wearable in my opinion, and I think it's very pretty and it does look very contrasting with my like features, but I don't feel my true self in these colors. So I do think that like this very light blue would look great in like a sweater for me. So maybe I could lean more into the color season analysis in my wardrobe rather than makeup, but I don't know, I don't feel like myself in it. So we will continue to explore the color seasons and just get my overall analysis. This is one of the color seasons I should be having my like best colors that I look in based on my features, but we have other color seasons to go through, so I'm really excited to see what they have to offer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm very excited to see you in the next rendition of our next color season analysis. I will see you guys next time. Bye!